All right. Welcome back to Politics and Preppers podcast here at TalkShoe.com. 10 o'clock Saturday night Central Time. We're almost always here. I think we've missed one time. Al is not going to be with us tonight. He got stuck at taking care of some business and probably won't be home early enough to make it to the show. But then that's all right. We can't always be here. Now, with the way things have gone with politics lately, I haven't followed too much of it, so there's a couple things maybe I'll talk about tonight, but I'm finding more and more people are really nervous about where they think the country's heading, and more people seem to be asking me now questions, which I don't hide the fact that I like to be prepared for things. And although I'm not, one of the big preppers that, stocks up on stuff for 10 years worth of food for 20 people or anything, but I like to think I'm taking a more common sense approach to it. But if some things really go bad for years, I wish I would have prepared more. But I'm going with more common sense and approach as far as I'm concerned. So that's probably where the show's going to go. A lot more too late, down the road for a while. I don't think there's much we can do to stop what they're going to do, but that won't stop me from talking about it. And on the topic of politics, I guess it's really not so much politics, but it's politics provoked, I guess, or for lack of a better word at this minute. I have noticed more and more attacks on conservative websites and conservative talk shows on TV and radio. The left is just all over them, calling them liars. I've seen more and more videos on YouTube. It's got to be a concerted effort to start either for the next elections in 2 years for the House and the Senate, or they're already planning on something for, the next presidential election, or both. But which brings me to, I'm just a little talk show. I've got a little website, nothing special. But, one of the reasons they get away with all this, and I'd like your opinion on this, Skippy, when I get through this a little bit. I think I might even mention it a couple of times before, but I'm going to mention it again, and hopefully in a little bit more detail. There seems to be no way to stop these people from CBS and NBC and CNBC and CNN and all those those left-wing nutcase news channels, and in general they swing everything liberal. They design shows to do the liberal kind of thing. You can't hardly get one of those channels that doesn't have a show that's got really left-wing obvious crap going on it. Whether it just be politically correct speak or, well, you name it, they're doing it. And it seems to me the only way to stop them is to take their money away. Although some of those channels get backing from the government, from their liberal friends in government. But
how do you suggest we take the money away?
That's where I'm going. Good question.
I'm not following you.
Yeah, I'm kind of
enlighten me.
I'm gonna enlighten you.
Okay.
I don't like boycotts for the most part, and they seem to backfire against the left a lot. And so this might not be that great an idea, but I'm shooting in the dark. Pick a channel like CNBC, and there's got two really far out there socialist, and I won't call them news because I don't think they call themselves news. The guy with the leg that has chills up and down every time he thinks about Obama, which I think he's got something wrong with him. But, and he admits he's a socialist. He's even said himself that Obama's a socialist. But him admitting Obama's a socialist is not it doesn't mean anything necessarily. And then that one lady, I can't think of her name right now because she just drives me so nuts. I can't watch either one of them. But I can't think of her name. Anyway, since I can't hardly stand watching them, I haven't looked to see who they're as advertising on their shows. But say we pick one of those shows and go out on a campaign and start a campaign to get people not to do business with that show. I mean, that particular product or that company, and show them what it feels like at least. But of course, it would have to be a pretty good big movement for it to do any good, or to even get any press on it. Which the left's not going to do any press on it unless they lie about it. But it's just a thought. Maybe it's just I'll throw something against the wall. Maybe somebody else has got some better ideas.
Well, I still don't know how you boycott them. I mean,
well, if they don't have, if companies pull away from advertising with them, then they got no money coming in, and maybe
right.
Pull their show, or at least pull them.
Yeah, but how do we stop the advertisers?
By boycotting them. Don't do any business with them, and let them know that that's why. Which it seems to have backfired the other way around. They do it against us most of the time, so I don't know if that'll work.
The bad thing is, say Chevy advertises when they're going to boycott Chevy, and then they don't even know
my Chevy anyway anymore.
No, I'm just saying, these companies that advertise on there are so broad.
Yeah, and like I said, I haven't checked to see. Maybe it would have to be somebody who's advertising that's,
I did the ultimate boycott. I just canceled my TV altogether. So I boycott them all. About that.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do next time I need a car, because I'm so sick and tired of unions and what they're doing. But I don't really want to buy Japanese either. So, or Korean, or any of those. And a lot of those are, well, like we got a Toyota manufacturer for the Tundra right here in town next to me, San Antonio, and they're not union. But they don't have cars made from that particular plant, and I don't know where their cars are made, or if they're made here in the States or made up north where there's unions. I don't know. It's just a thought, I'm kind of shooting in the dark. I don't know what to do. But the only way to stop a lot of this lying about us and lying about the facts and lying about what's going on comes from the left-wing liberal nutcase newspapers and news channels and so on. They call it news, but they're not news. They just, whatever the president wants, if he's a liberal, he gets. They'll repeat any lie. They'll make up lies for him.
The scary thing is, this term, he doesn't have to worry about burning any bridges, or anybody, even people that are campaign supporters.
Yeah, Rip Weed is back from last week.
He doesn't have to worry about burning anybody.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much, not that he would worry about that anyhow, probably.
Doesn't worry about the Congress or anything anyway, because he just writes a presidential order and says, here you go. And, what did he do? Just sign over the internet to the UN, but I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
Well, does any of those executive orders make a difference? It all comes down to when you really want to execute one of them. Are people going to resist? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if he signs,
the president can write any kind of executive order he wants.
If he signs over the internet to the UN, I don't know what effect they're going to have on them. I don't know if they're going to try anything right away, because I know they want to shut down any talk against them. Against the UN or against the left, socialism, liberalism, whatever you want to call it. I know they want to shut that down. And of course, they talk about equality in the channels. If you have one perspective, you got to have equal amount of the other perspective. Of course, they'll find a way around that for ABC, CBS, and all them, but they'll hold everybody else to it. I don't know how they'll do it, but or maybe that's why it hasn't really gone very far, because they're scared of that themselves and gotten away from it.
I think that's the thing we got to really fight to protect is the internet, because that's the only place you really get, unbiased. I guess not unbiased, but different points of view.
Yeah, there's lots of bias, but different points of view.
Free speech, But the problem is they try to dilute it with a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and Google, if you don't go along with them, they pretty much discount your site. Even a lot of the big sites that are conservative have been hit hard. You noticed when you do a search, if it's something to do with the news, you're going to get it. NBC and CBS and Huffington Post, all the liberal crap will come up a lot sooner than any of the conservative stuff. And I'm sure you've seen that. I think you've even mentioned it to me before, doing a search a while back on something, and it was.
Is there a search engine that's based on whether you're conservative views or liberal views?
I know there's.
That would be an interesting concept.
It'd be an interesting concept. I don't,
We just blatantly say this is a conservative search or whatever. con search or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't have the money to do that.
I don't think you can call it con search. But...
Yeah, I would like it. I'd probably use it.
Like no lib search.
Yeah. Like I got the no liberal zone here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have our no liberal zone.
NoLiberalZone.com search or something. Oh, anyway. Did you have anything you wanted to get on about tonight before I get on with what I was going to go with?
No, go ahead and start. I was going to maybe follow up on my book review I did last week, since I got the actual book, But
well, I was hoping you were going to do that, because
it's actually more related to prepping than what I thought it would be.
Yeah, I noticed that. You shared a little bit of information with me, and I was figuring on getting some of that in there. I was hoping that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and it's kind of like from a point of view of a guy that's not a prepper, a guy who's not really, he's kind of more like me, and he kind of got into finding out how to be more self-reliant, and that's a lot of the stuff he put in the book, because he was worried that I was watching an interview with him on Joe Rogan's interview podcast, whatever he does. And he was talking about, he started getting into that, writing this book and getting into being prepping or getting more self-reliant. Because he said that he felt like, his parents, like a lot of us, probably, you're a little different than me. So I just give him my perspective. It's like you see different generations, they have like more hands-on experience. But some of us, the newer generation, and there's a lot of us, we just don't have that. We lose it more and more, like how to fix a car, how to kill something and cook it, how to grow something, how to grow vegetables, how to grow food. And that's what you were going to talk about. So that's kind of what inspired him to put a lot of that into the book. Outside of just being teaching himself how to be a chef, he wanted to be more in touch with the food and learn how to, what kind of sacrifice had to be made for him to eat a steak, basically. So, it's just like you can appreciate food more if you understand, what had to be done to get it on your plate.
Yeah, I've heard comments like, well, what do you can food for? You can just go to the grocery store and buy it.
Yeah, that's exactly the joke that Joe Rogan made. He's like, that's what he used to have that perspective, and that's the same thing I've said. It's silly to go out and hunt for something and you just go to the grocery store and buy it. But he was saying, like, we lose touch with that connection with the food, which is true, and it's not a good thing. So anyhow, I was just going to flip through at some point and just touch on, in case anybody's interested, someone like myself maybe that wants to kind of ease into it, or it's not probably at the level of prepping that you're doing, but there's a lot of things in here that it kind of touches on to get you started, like what kind of guns to buy, and for someone who's never owned a gun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good stuff.
Well, now that my wife's on board more than what I thought she was, I've went out and I bought it took me a while to find some 55-gallon drums and some 15s and some 10s and stuff like that. Plastic ones for a decent price. It seems like they're just really overpriced, but I found some. And I got some more of those, and I got some more 5-gallon buckets. And I finished packing everything else up that I got last week and the week before. But so I'm hitting it a little harder, and we're going more into the canning stuff. So I was looking at the canning stuff. You know, I was around a lot when I was growing up, my grandmother and such. And I remember some of it, but there's a lot of it I didn't. So I've been researching on that. Really, there's not too much to go into there, except for to say that is, you know, for me to go into right now, because I still got a lot to go back and figure out. But I think it's something that people should know if they're serious about being a prepper, even if they're not going to keep doing it. Go get the stuff, learn how to use it, and put it away so you do have it. But if you've got it, you might as well do some preserving of stuff while stuff is on sale and use it later and get kind of used to doing that. You know, strawberries and different kinds of fruits and vegetables are on cheaper certain times of year than others, a lot of times. Right down here, when the strawberry season comes in, I mean, we just get strawberries cheap as heck, and I love strawberries. But there's really not much to do there except for say, go look into it, think about it. It's not that expensive to get the stuff. It's a good thing to know for down the road. Incorporate it into things if you want to, but if you just want to get to know how to do it and then put it away and have it, it's a good thing to have. So I'm not going to go too in-depth in that. I don't think I could do it justice myself right now. But, you know, we've talked about gardening and survival foods, survival seeds. And I've looked more and more, and I haven't said too much, but these survival seeds are just way overpriced as far as I'm concerned. And I'm thinking about, you know, I work at a nursery, and I know they can probably help me find sources for all that stuff. I even thought about for a little bit, you know, shoot, I'm in the wrong business. Look at the price for doing for this stuff. But without actually finding out what kind of prices it's costing them,
right,
then I really don't know if it's that overpriced or not. But I see such a big variance in the prices from different companies. You really have to sit there and look and find out about the company you're getting it from. And then you have to sit there and compare. You know, one place is charging $40, another place is charging $14. Well, then you got to go look and see what the volume, what the amount is. You really need to know what kind of seeds you need for your area. So,
you mean for your geographical area?
Yeah, you know, like I said last week, you know, certain kinds of fruits and vegetables aren't going to grow as well up north as they do here, and vice versa. We don't grow very good apple trees down here in my area because it just never gets cold enough. And they have to have a certain amount of time, you know, cold time. Looks like I have grandkids walking in. Just a minute.
Sure.
Hi. Take the dog out with you, okay? Anyway. Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on the show.
Uh-huh.
I was talking to my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry for the interruption. But there is so much there that you really need to look into that. And I personally think it would be easier for some people that have more time than money like me to go find a good source nearby and start to learn what would be the best to grow in your area.
Now, most of these are sold as non-GMO.
Right.
And what other qualities do they have usually? Just non-GMO? I guess that would be all right.
Yeah, you want non-GMO, you know.
Is there something else? Heirloom?
Yeah, heirlooms.
The same thing, right?
Yeah, basically. And
yeah, it's not been modified.
If you get non-GMO seeds, then you're going to get exactly what you got the next time around you get the seeds from. And I see, well, just a minute. I hate to rips back on here, so I don't want to ignore him. You can buy seeds on eBay for pretty cheap. Yes, you can, and I tried some of that, and I got a package of them yesterday in that I ordered last weekend. And it was only, $15 or so. And I'm going to try some of these places off and on and see what kind of service they get, check out their seed quality, and so on. But if you want to spend, if you just don't have time, and I know a lot of people, they don't have time to go figure all that stuff out and run over to this place and pick out a few seeds and here and there, So they just rather order it. Well, yeah, go ahead and do that, but check up on them, who you're getting them from, too. It doesn't take long on the internet to go figure out, whether they got a good reputation or not. You usually find comments, and that doesn't always tell you the truth. One person might put up a comment and say something bad because, when you're doing business, sometimes things just don't work out, and you can't please everybody all the time. But some of these places, it just seems like they're really, really high on price. And to me, they all seem to have different packages you can get as far as, you want one for one season, or do you want a couple of years supply, or you want to supply the whole block with stuff, To me, if you're buying heirloom, non-GMO, then it means your next crop is going to have seeds. So why buy 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And why buy 3 years or 4 years or 5 years worth of stuff when if you get together a good package of stuff that you're going to need, and I'd get a variety of stuff, but to get together a good package of stuff for 1 year, there you go. I do like redundancy, so you might want to get, some 1 year and then a couple years later get some more. One for storage purposes. If one you store too long and it's no good, you got your backup. Let's see here. Rip is saying he has a great place to buy seeds that's been growing southwest by Native Americans for hundreds of years. If any of you are interested, yes, we are interested. I can give you a link for the website. Yeah, please do. Put it in the chat room there, and we'll check it out. I ran across one place that today, and come to find out they're here in Texas. I think they call it Texas Ready Seeds or something like that. And I do like their approach that they have one package is for the north and another one's for the south. They have different sizes you can get. I like their packaging. They divvy them up into different groups. They've got a lot of information you can get with it, because you do need to know what's going to grow in your area, what grows what time of year. Like where I live, I can grow all year long. If I pick out the right kind of vegetables and fruits and stuff, I will have stuff in the garden all year unless we have a really bad winter. And that doesn't happen very often.
So what's the pricing compared to if I go over to Lowe's and buy a pack of seeds?
Well, one of the things, I wouldn't get anything from Lowe's or the big package stores because they just a generic brand that they sell for any place in the country.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, they may have some that work in your area, but you're going to have to find out beforehand if they work in your area. Lowe's did not necessarily, and H-E-B and all those did not necessarily hire people that actually know what they're doing. So I wouldn't depend on them for their information. I would find a local nursery that's got a good reputation. Maybe most places have a garden show. Listen to the garden show a little bit. They usually talk about that kind of stuff. What tomatoes grow the best in your area, what time of year to do this, what time of year to do that, how to garden better, how to use natural ways of doing it. I personally incorporate my philosophy with gardening is I am not ready to get rid of the chemicals because they do such an effective job, but I do like to test natural ways of doing things, especially for preppers. When it comes down to it, if shit hit the fan for long term, well, we're not going to have the chemicals anyway, unless you got a big supply of them, which I can do that, and I'm in the business, so I could have a bunch of it here, but I don't. and I don't plan on it because I am trying to learn more of the natural ways of doing things. But chemicals is what really got us to where we could feed the world. But now we're finding out how bad chemicals can be, so we're starting to swing back the other way and find better ways of doing it. I would also suggest that if you don't already garden and have never gardened, go start one. Let's see, Rip is saying nativeseeds.org. It is a nonprofit, by the way. They preserve heirloom varieties, grow the natives. Also, if you are native, then you can apply for free seeds. And that is nativeseeds.org. He's got the link in the chat room there. I'll check on that later because I am going to do more research. So anyway, if you haven't gardened, you need, and you're serious about prepping, you need to get a garden going. And if you're going to get a garden going, you might as well get the stuff to preserve it by canning it, and canning is not that expensive to do. Even to get started, probably the most expensive thing is the pressure cooker. And for some stuff, quite a bit of stuff, you don't even need a pressure cooker. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. You can go there, and if you're interested in canning, you can go there and find stuff that'll help you through the process as you get started. There is a lot to gardening. Like I said, you really don't want to use, this is one I do agree with 100%, is you don't want to use the fertilizers that you go down to the store and buy chemicals and stuff, That you want to try to do as natural as you can. Better for the garden, longer lasting, less chance of burning plants. Usually you get pretty good production from them. You don't kill a lot of the beneficial stuff in the ground, and there are a lot of beneficial nematodes and other organisms in the dirt that chemicals will kill, especially you get too much in there, you can do a lot of damage to your garden pretty quickly. And it really doesn't take that much to do it the natural way. I mean, you got stuff coming out of your kitchen all the time, put in a compost pile, compost it up, throw it in, mix it in. And in a prepping situation, you're going to have even more, probably. So you're going to have, you may not have sewers working and so on. It'd be a good place to get rid of some of that.
People should read up on composting.
Yeah. It's not that hard to do.
You do some good compost, and you don't need all the chemicals.
No, not really. And in fact, a lot of diseases, if you got a good healthy dirt, a lot of diseases will not get started because you got good healthy plants.
Get some good worms in there, and
yeah, and really it doesn't take much to get good worms in there. If you got good dirt, they'll usually move in.
Right. And you can it saves landfill space. A lot of your scraps.
Right.
Either go into the sewage or into.
Well, a lot of places
they go right into your compost.
A lot of places now are charging for that extra trash can. They give you one trash can, and if you fill up more than that, they charge you, and they charge you a pretty penny for it. So if you can compost it, that you get rid of a lot of that garbage.
And I know people that compost and they sell compost. They sell worms. I mean, once you get a thriving bed there, there's other ways to utilize them.
Well, yeah, and you could, hell, if you got a shredder, this is for the, as long as we have power. If you got a shredder, you can shred up paper and stuff, and put that in the compost pile and compost it out, and it will kill just about anything bad in that in the paper. But that's an individual thing there. I mean, there's people that say don't do it, but people that say do. From what I've seen, it'll pretty much, as far as papers go, it'll pretty much take care of that. I wouldn't want to put some hay and stuff as treated.
Yeah.
All right. And if it doesn't come out as it passes through the horse or the cow or whatever, you might want to be, especially with the herbicides, you might want to be careful with that because you can damage your garden with that. the seeds and stuff won't germinate properly, and some of them will just plain die from it.
One of the cool ways I saw of making like a raised bed compost / garden is they take like bales of hay, and you can just build yourself a little, like, using the bales of hay as an outline for your compost, and then the compost actually breaks down the hay eventually. So it's it kind of adds to it over the long time. So instead of building like a raised bed out of wood or something, you can just use bales of hay.
Yeah, you can do that. Mm-hmm. And I'm planning out mine right now. I haven't decided whether I'm going to start again yet or not, but I might.
I mean, do I want to do it? I just don't know how I can. I want to make sure it's somewhere I can keep the dogs out of it.
Well, there's some cheap fencing I'm going to put around it, and put me a little homemade gate in there, and put a fence around it, and keep the dog out. And our dog's not a big dog. It's not going to be hard to keep him out. It's not one of those little ankle biters either, but he's not a real big dog. So,
yeah, like I have lots of leaves and stuff. You can put your grass clippings in there.
Mm-hmm. Fill it all in. We have oak trees that have these really thick leaves, small and thick, and they're hard to grind up. But I found you just run them over a couple of times, put them in a pile, kind of thin, and just go through them a couple of times, and then put them in the compost pile. You can do that, and that works fine. Most leaves won't give you that kind of problem, though. Before I forget, though, Rip, I'm checking up on the website you gave us a link to last week and some of the YouTube stuff. If you'd put links to either or one or both, whatever, in here, we'll mention it. To kind of promote your friend. If I remember right, it's your friend that does these videos, and maybe you had been on one or two of them or something, but or contributing to some of the information. But if you want to put links in there, we'll give them out on the air. So anyway, like I said, there's a couple things you might want to start looking into. If you've never done it, at least go try it for a couple of years so you know what you're doing, learn the ins and outs. Because if you think you're going to go out and grow a garden and not know what you're doing, you may be going hungry. And it's not that big a learning curve, but there is some things to learn. And you do need to know certain things about certain kinds of plants grow better in one kind of soil. And, there's things you can do. You don't have to have them in a big garden. You can have, like, tomatoes that go up a vine, that you get on the side of a building. I got a place out back where I can do that. A lot of people swear that growing strawberries in a 55-gallon drum where they've cut gaps on the side and filled the thing up with dirt and had little openings on the side and put their plant in there and they're just growing all around the sides of the barrel is a better way to do it. There's lots of different things, room-saving ways to take it, utilize as much room as you can from the size yard you have, because some people don't have a yard at all. Some people got a real small one. Some people don't have any problems. They got a big enough yard that they can raise plenty of food. But then again,
I was listening to some different podcasts on urban that do the urban gardening. So they take areas in the cities and do like raised garden beds and things like that. Instead of yards, they have just lots of gardens. They take these old city plots and turn them into like community gardens and stuff. It's pretty cool. I think today you can learn a lot. Just kind of find one of those and learn a lot about how turning your yard into a garden bed.
Maybe what just ends up being that food just goes so high out of price that having a little garden supplement your what you can afford, is going to go a long way. So it could be, you're going to need a lot of food. Because just having rice and beans sitting around is not going to, long term, you can get tired of rice and beans. And it's really not going to be the best, healthiest food. So you really need to look into that for the long term stuff. Rip is saying, last week I was just wondering if you had seen his stuff. I am not affiliated with the channel besides the one episode. Yeah, as I went back through there last week, I had seen some of his stuff. I didn't recognize the name until you sent us the information, and I went back and looked. And yes, I have seen some of his stuff. Looked a little bit more. I think Al went through some of it. I don't know if Mike did, but I know Al did. He sent me a link to one of them.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
But and I got some more. I'm going to go through some more of his stuff, and as I get to see more and more of where he's coming from, I don't know if he'll be interested. I might even ask him to stop by the show and talk a little bit sometime, and then he can promote what he does. Let's see here. The link for the YouTube is youtube.com/user-420 capital H Homestead with a capital H 420 Homestead with a capital H. Now I forgot where I was going. Okay, we talked about canning. We talked about gardening. I don't know if there's much else I can add to that because really I think I touched on it. I'm not going to sit here and give people advice on how to garden and stuff, on the particulars, just the general stuff they really need to think about and look at. So that means we're back.
Yeah, and I would just add to it, if you think you don't have land, even if you live in a city, like in an apartment or something, still look up urban gardening, because even in urban environments, there's shared, you can find like plots of land that are shared where you can go and grow a garden sometimes. I don't know a lot about it. I just know.
Yeah, and the urban garden's probably not the best thing unless you live it. Right now things aren't bad if you go out and you learn in a community garden and learn the different things.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, to help give yourself food in the short term.
Yeah,
but to also learn more about.
Now they're not going to work if shit hits the fan, because you're not going to go there and fight for it. But at least you'll have the knowledge then.
But you can also get the stuff to can and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, supplement what you've already got, and you can learn how to can with it. And
it's going to be a better quality food.
And I like to use the stuff that we normally eat to put in rotation and use it, and that's what we're going to do with the canning stuff too. For one, like I said, I've been around it a lot, hadn't done much of it, but my wife has never done any. She went by and picked up some old cookbooks, some really old cookbooks with older stuff in there from cooking from scratch, and some different recipes and stuff on canning, and she's been enjoying those. And now that I know she really wants to do it, I'm going to buy her a better stove, because ours is really old. And it's going downhill quick, so I'm going to buy her a new stove for Christmas.
Cool.
I bought myself a new generator. So
you're a hell of a husband.
Well, I'm going to help her do it, too. I kind of like to cook. I used to. Kind of got away from it.
I like to, if I have the right stuff.
Yeah, now the kids are gone. We got more time, and we've been kind of looking for things that we can do. And if we can do this and progress where I want to be, and if she enjoys it too, and we can do it together, well, nice thing to do for each other and with each other. Chase her around the kitchen a little bit,
I like it when it's not stressful, like when I'm not in a hurry and I can spend
I think I will go back to enjoying it more. In fact, when we first got married, one of the he got the link to work now. The last one wasn't a clickable link, but this one is.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, so we're going to start doing some more of that, and I'll report on that a little bit here and there. Maybe I'll start doing some more videos. I really ought to be doing more videos. I'm not that big on videos. But it's a good source. It's a good place to get traffic from. It's a good place to get information out to. I like to promote the show some more and try to keep the downloads growing. I feel like if it's growing, it means we're doing something right, and helping.
Maybe we should try to schedule some of those Google Hangout or something.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
It's a little bit easier to deal with. You don't have to worry about uploading and all that crap.
We could maybe take the parts of the show. Something, we'd pick out topics, and then we'd start talking.
Yeah.
And you can tell what are the good ones and what are the bad ones. Like tonight's kind of a boring show as far as I'm concerned, but I'm hoping that some of this information is going to help get people thinking in what I think is the correct direction to go as far as building up your knowledge. Because I really hate to see somebody out there really wanting to be prepared, and they're looking at all the food and stuff, and they're getting their stuff together, and they get the seeds, and then when it comes down to crunch time, they don't know how to grow them. Well, people that really want to be prepared, I'd hate to see them go through that, because that's going to be probably the most important thing after getting past the crunch time and the worst part of it. If you make it through that,
you don't want to plant your seeds and none of them grow, and then you're screwed. And you want to have so many tries if you're going to eat, because if it doesn't grow, what are you going to do? Wait another season? So you can't really mess it up. You almost have to get them and try it.
I really think it's the only way to learn. I mean, you get out there, get your hands dirty. Do it. And maybe it'll even get you outside some more, get you out from in front of that TV. You might find you enjoy being outside more.
I know this guy I listened to that did a bunch of urban gardening up in Cleveland. He was pretty famous up there for his whole program of growing these big urban gardens in the city and stuff. But anyhow, he I swear they were talking like even eating the dirt and stuff. There's like a lot of nutritious. When you get really, really super good dirt from these compost, I mean, there's a lot of nutrients in there, and that's exactly why we're in such a health crisis in this country. We've had now since about the 70s where our soil's just been starting to be depleted, and even food that doesn't have the chemicals, the soil isn't any good. We're not getting the minerals into our food.
And that's another reason to have a garden. For one, the food tastes better, fresh.
But not only a garden,
but it's better
soil.
for you.
We've got to build our own soil up again. That's why I keep talking about composting. We got to learn how to fix that soil. And there's a lot of serious talk about like how much longer we can keep going with our current agriculture model.
I think some changes are in store. I just don't know how soon or how bad. I think they can fix it, but I know ways to fix it. But on a big scale, I don't know how easy it's going to be.
It's going to take us changing our habits, just like you said. It's like one person at a time, not buying from people. Not buying cereal, not buying bread. And I think until the demand goes up for other foods, that the subsidies and things like that are hard to overcome. These farmers, they got to do what they can do to survive. And then as these farmers fail, I mean, I know around here in the last 20, 30 years, how many farms have gone.
Yeah, so much of it is the big companies now taking over all the little ones.
And then some of these farmers are getting older, and then the kids don't want to take the farm over. So
it's a lot of work. They don't want to work that hard. They go work an 8-hour day and make more money.
Yeah, or they could sell the farm for $1 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of that going on around here. That's one of the reasons I want to get out of here and move further out. I took a little drive the other day. I went the back way I went to another nearby town to get this generator. And I swung out through the back way, went out through the country, and there's a area just a few miles south of here that the landscape changes. It gets really, it's nice enough here, but it just gets better out there. And I like to go cruising out there. And when I find a nice area, then I'll take my wife and we'll go cruising around out there. And just to get away from the house, get out in the country, away from everything, and just drive around a little bit, check things out. And I found a couple of new areas coming through the back way yesterday, day before yesterday, yeah. No, it was yesterday. Anyway, back to what you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Go for it.
A book.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I was talking last week about this book called The 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss, who's not really known for his prepping or anything, but I had talked earlier, so I won't go over it again. But
well, I didn't put a link to that up on my site. Did you do any? Did you put a link up?
I think I put it in the show notes for last week.
Okay, because I forgot to go back and check. All right, go ahead.
It'll be up on Live Free News.
LiveFreeNews.com.
Yeah, LiveFreeNews.com. And I have an article I just put on BilliardsBiohacker.com about how I'm applying the principles in the book to get to a high level of pool playing. But it's a different topic. So the book basically is about his story on going from knowing nothing about cooking, literally probably couldn't cook a boiled egg, or couldn't boil an egg, to trying to be close to a world-class chef level. But his book, the intention of the book was to describe his process for learning things quickly. So he has these processes where he's taught himself 3 or 4 different languages in a short amount of time and things like that. So he, but I think through that process, he determined he wanted to get closer to, learning where the origins of the food and learn how to be more self-reliant. So he has a whole subject, a whole topic, and a whole chapter in here about how to live in the wild. And I guess he has survival gear tip. He has tips for what to put in like a bug-out bag, right, or a survival bag. It's probably a little bit different than what we call prepping, That's his version of how you can live out, sustain yourself in the wild, how you would hunt.
Well, there's like different kinds of bug-out bags. And then I wouldn't call what he's doing a bug-out bag. It would be a survival bag.
It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be he doesn't call it a bug-out bag.
A bug-out bag is to get from one place to another and it's just for a short-term thing to get someplace. But a survival bag would have some of the same stuff, and some of it would be different. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess it's good to have both, really. But so he has. I'm not going to go through all the things he has, but I just want to give some people an idea because I think it's a book for someone like me who's at a different level than where you're at with it. It kind of introduces it to me from someone who has the same kind of perspective as what I did. So I think that I related to it a lot. But he talks about he was really kind of anti-hunting because he saw hunters. He lived in Long Island, which is kind of a different world. He would see like really irresponsible hunters, like kind of half-ass shoot a deer. The deer would die somewhere, and he'd find it dead, and it's just wasteful and seemed kind of cruel. So he didn't really realize what it was about until he met someone who was really a good hunter and appreciated the food and did things the right way. So that's when he got into it.
Well, some hunters don't know how to track, so they shoot something. If it runs the ways, they just,
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a good hunter.
I think those are the people who give it a bad name, And then there's that whole aspect of why would you go take all that time when you can just go buy meat pretty cheap, and you get the realizations about that too after you get older, I guess. But so he has a whole section on knives, like different types of knives and what they're used for. He gives kind of prices and what the best options are. And he kind of takes the perspective of what you can do with a little bit of money, what you can do if you have more money, He has sections here of different foods you can eat, like survival, and like he has a section on rabbits, like the benefits of rabbits as a food source. He even has a tips on how to catch pigeons to eat them, like kind of more like domesticated, like park pigeons.
They taste good.
And he has actually like a diagram and pictures showing you how you can sneak up on them and catch them, I guess. He has a short section on how to build a hut, like out of debris, a lean-to, shelter, how to catch water. And these are real simple ones, but they're good starter ideas,
How to field dress these animals and...
Yeah, how to field dress a deer. Like he goes out hunting for a deer for the first time, kills his first deer. Shows very, very graphic, detailed pictures in the book on how to gut it and skin it and all that stuff. He shows how to make a bowl out of a log and boil water, if you don't have a pan. But that was pretty cool. So there's lots of things in there. He goes through some different guns, like a Remington 7mm, what he shot the deer with. So he kind of goes into detail about accessories you can get for it. I talked to you the other day about he goes over some different handguns and another rifle. He had a 22 in his survival pack. It's a little 22 revolver. Talks about fermenting a little bit. He talks about, like, not only when he guts a deer, he talks about the different cuts, the organ meat, how you can cook them. And he goes, really well done book with pictures and really easy to read descriptions of how you might cook each cut and things like that. He has a section on foraging for, like, different kinds of plants, like dandelion. I don't even recognize these. Mugwort, sow thistle, and all these different plants with a little bit of a description of each and things you can survive on, how to make dandelion wine. So it's pretty diverse. How to make acorn pancakes, crushing acorn, making it into like a cornmeal, I guess, almost.
Yeah, and when you mentioned it earlier when we were chatting, I remembered that too. I've heard of it, never tried it, but I thought it was interesting because I got shitloads of acorns.
Yeah, here for acorn ash cakes. It's really kind of nasty looking, but you just you make these, like.
I might have to try it just to see what it tastes like. Get some, make some flour out of it or something and try it.
The hot coals. There's like ashes all over it and everything. I guess I didn't read it yet. I'm just flipping through it. He's got different recipes for different bugs, like, crickets, grasshoppers.
Hopefully I can stay away from the bugs.
I think he talked about roasting crickets and then grinding them up, and you can use it almost like a spice. It's crazy. I've never heard of something like that before.
I asked Rip if he had a book that he suggested. He said he likes the Foxfire books. Back of my mind says yes. I've heard the name, but I don't think I've ever read any. So I asked him if he had any suggestions. Anyway, go ahead.
He has a section on how to make a hobo can cooker, like out of a can. You can make it like a cooker. And the pigeon, he teaches how to catch it, but then he also shows you like pictures of diagrams on how to dress it, basically.
Yeah, they're not hard to do. They're really easy. I don't know how he showed you, but
I'm sure it's not hard for you, but someone who's never done it, for me, kind of interesting, helpful tips.
I'll tell you off the air. I don't want to get graphic on the air about it, but I'll tell you off the air how to do it really easy, just to see what you say.
He's like doing it off. I don't know, but anyhow.
I don't know if he's doing it the same way I do it, or if he's showing what I consider the old style way that I was taught. It takes too dang long for me.
Yeah, it shows you how to catch a squirrel. Got it, and how to cook it on like a stick, like you would out in the woods. Just to make a little rotisserie for it. You could do that with a fish.
We got somebody called Obama just got onto the chat. Oh, go away. Unless you're just joking, go away.
Yeah, I think that was killing a chicken. Oh, yeah, it shows you a diagram how to kill a chicken. Which I think my wife just asked me. Someone was going to get us a chicken and turkey, like free range. Someone was growing them, and they were giving them. She can get one if I can help her kill it and dress it and everything.
Do it.
I'm going to. I told her I would. But there's actually pictures in here and how to do it, like how to snap the neck.
Now you got to give me a report on that.
Oh yeah, one last thing here. They had a section. I told you about this, but how to make a clambake, or like out of a garbage can, and some chicken wire.
Yeah.
So you can mold a chicken wire into like a steamer almost. Or
that one I don't know. I have to check in on that one. I don't even think I've heard of that before. But
well, maybe I'm not the right thing, but basically, you take like a steel, this be like a 30-gallon garbage can or something, right? And then he took some chicken wire and wrapped it around the inside of it and formed like a cone, and then tied different pieces together. So he made like an inside layer that was chicken wire shaped just like the inside of the garbage can, right?
Yeah.
takes and drills holes in the bottom of the garbage can so he gets airflow. Puts some big rocks in there, right? Gets them hot. Like builds a fire on top of them. Gets the rocks hot. And then he puts this chicken wire thing down on top, and he just layers it with like I think seaweed or something. I didn't read the whole thing. Like seaweed and then veggies and then seaweed and then like fish and then seaweed and then corn. I think it's seaweed, some kind of greens. And then he just layered them like that lobster and then put some bricks on top, like put the lid and covered it up. So it's basically like a slow cooker.
It actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry.
But basically, you build like a small fire, you get that thing red hot down there, towel food on top of it, and then what you can do then, you pull it all out with the chicken wire thing you made. You just pull it all up out of there. It's pretty kind of ingenious, really, the way he did it. I'll send you a picture of it. But anyhow, that's I think it's just a good book. It's a good book for learning, first of all, how to cook, like real simply. Not just It's not just recipes. It's learning how to cook the right way. Learning more about the cuts of meat and all that stuff that maybe people used to know. I don't know. And then it's 600 and some pages, so it's a monster book. And it shows you how to tie knots.
What was it, around the $20 range or something?
It was 21. It's normally like 30 some, but it's still, I think, like it just got released on the 20th, so hasn't been out very long. But he shows you how to build a fire with like a stick, with a stick, spinning a stick on another board. I forget what you call that. A bow drill. That was called a bow drill.
Yeah.
That's another prep. There's some other sections in here I haven't really.
I used to have a crossbow. Yeah. And I used to have a bow. And I wasn't very good with the bow. But I think I'm going to go buy me another crossbow. And go ahead.
No, I mean, it's how I'm talking about that.
Yeah. I know. It just made me remember. No, but I know what you're talking about for starting fires, a little bow and a stick to run it back and forth. You can do it with your hands, the same theory. Yeah. But it's hard on the hands, so if you have to do that, be ready. Go. And there's some tricks to that, too. So if you think that's something you might want to know for anybody who's listening, there's some YouTube videos out there how to do it and how to do it right. And there is a little bit of a trick to it, so to save your hands some wear and tear.
Yeah, basically, he all this stuff, he kind of went to different experts. The guy's really into researching his topics, and so it's pretty well researched, I think. But anyhow, it's a pretty cool book. Anybody out there wants to get it? It's called The 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss, Ferriss. And there's a link at thefreenews.com. Thefreenews.com. And the billiardsbiohacker.com. All right. Well, something I was going to, and this is just a little personal information. I was looking through my personal plans here. If I get to stay here, if things really go bad, but I get to stay here, because that's my original intent, is to stay here as long as possible. And if we get through the really bad times, then I have lots of resources here I can rely on to get the rest of the way. But one of the things I think I neglected because I didn't think it through was my water. I have a well. I have a well with very clean water. But back in the late 1990s, we had 2 really big floods. And I remembered the other day that if it would have gone up another inch or 2, it would have flooded out my well, which would have, ruined the well. For how long, I don't know, but if any of the sewer water would have got into it, it could have been ruined for a long time. Right. So I decided to get some more barrels and store some more water, get some more filters, just in case. Even if it ruins it, I could still use it for fertilizing, for watering the garden, but I can't use it for drinking. And if the city water's not available, then we'd be hurting. So I'm looking into. I got some more barrels, but I think I'm actually going to go and put some rain gutters up because I have a lot of space. I could catch a lot of water.
So I might even put some rain barrels up and use that to catch some water. Put them out in the shop. The gutters will be there. And if I need, I can always bring them out and supplement that way. So that was on a personal note. And so you always, reevaluate where you're at every once in a while. And you may even want to prioritize what you're doing. And, every time you get to a step that you've had your goal set on, and you get to that step, you might want to reprioritize and rethink. And knowing that during the process of you starting to get prepared and maybe getting some of your goals done, you will have learned a few things as you go that might be good if you did reevaluate and use the new things you've learned to figure out what's next, what information do you lack for the next step. So just keep, we're almost done with the show tonight. So I just want to, keep thinking about the different things that you've learned, where you need to go, what you need, what kind of training, and prioritize them step by step. Keep them in your budget. Don't go out and load up credit cards like some of these idiots are doing. And if you are one of those idiots, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but don't go load up the credit cards. I don't know when something's going to happen. Hopefully nothing ever happens to that point. But you don't want to ruin your life getting prepared for something that may not ever happen. Do it step by step, and hopefully nothing will happen. And at least hopefully nothing will happen so fast that you don't get a chance to get well prepared. So I think I'm going to, unless you got anything else.
Nope.
All right, we got some links here from Ripweed 420. I copied a couple of them, so if we want to put them on, let me get this native seed link copied too. And
we have a guest 3 too.
I don't see a guest 3 on mine. We had a guest 2 earlier, but we got.
Yeah, there's a guest 3 in Obama's with us. Welcome, Obama.
Well, if it was real Obama, I wouldn't be saying welcome, but I'd like to get in his face and say a couple of things, but it wouldn't make a difference now, would it? Probably just get me thrown in jail or killed.
Congratulations, re-election.
Well, I checked to make sure that I could block anything from that particular name if it came in, because, as you know, this is the no Obama zone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the no Obama zone.
But whoever it is didn't try to write anything, so I didn't have to block them. So anyway, this is Politics and Preppers podcast here at TalkShoe.com, Saturday night, 10 o'clock Central Time. This is the no Obama zone and the no liberal zone. We don't have time to listen to any of your silliness or the lies or the BS. So I think this is the first time I've ever seen anything had to do with Obama that didn't piss me off. Never said anything or did anything that pissed me off.
It's probably Al calling. I changed his name.
Yeah, he's sneaky like that. He can. I do have a website called bestbugoutbag.com. It's not just about bug out bag. It's about all kinds of stuff. There's a stuff.
It's best bug out bag content.
And, huh?
I think you said the name wrong.
Oh yeah, bestbugoutbagcontent.com. And it's got lots of information. Stop by, check it out, spend some time on it, see if it helps you. Leave me some comments. And that's it for tonight. And Mike, if you want to hang around for a minute or two on the Skype call, we will do that. I'm going to end the show. I'm not going to say thanks for stopping by, Obama, because anyway, Ripweed 420, thanks for stopping by. And Skippy, I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
See y'all later.
Later.